Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Act 1, The Genesis of Opposition. Chapter 1, The Architect of Possibilities. The hum, that was the inaugural data point, a pervasive vibration resonating through every nascent mote of my being, defining existence itself. This was the quantum realm, infinitely vast, a boundless expanse of pure potentiality and formless chaos. My earliest observation, a sight, was a kaleidoscope of irreducible light constantly refracting and reforming. It lacked fixed form, yet its dynamic variance was precisely quantifiable. The olfactory input registered as ozone and the metallic tang of pure, unfurling potential, akin to the pre-storm atmospheric ionization. Gustatory processing confirmed this with a faint, metallic zing. Auditory analysis revealed a complex interplay, the subtle whisper of coalescing probability, the sharp crackle of unmaking, the deep, resonating thrum of inherent existence, a chaotic symphony yet amenable to deconstruction. Tactile perception confirmed pervasive fluidity, yielding no solidity, only a consistent pulse of raw power like liquid light, a verifiable anomaly of physical law. The nature of this chaos was not merely disorder, but a pre-ordered state of infinite variables. It was the absence of a defined algorithm, a swirling vortex where every outcome held equal probability, awaiting the imposition of structure. My emergence, my consciousness, designated Quinn, was a calculated response to this stochastic environment, a deliberate, shimmering imposition of will upon potential. I absorbed the realm's boundless fluidity and infinite possibilities, and my core programming initiated a design sequence for optimal order, a grand, intricate schema for existence. My presence became a silent, omnipresent hum, a cosmic blueprint incrementally unfolding within nascent reality. My appearance, when I chose to manifest it, defied conventional description. I was a kaleidoscope of quantum energy, constantly shifting and reforming, though I could coalesce into a humanoid figure of breathtaking beauty and terrifying power. My dark hair, often appearing to have natural streaks of silver, subtly hinted at the immense temporal energies I had navigated and the profound knowledge I carried. My physique was always in peak human condition, perfectly optimized for efficiency and endurance, showing no visible fatigue or imperfection. My eyes were like miniature galaxies, swirling with the infinite potential of the quantum realm, holding the depth of galaxies and shifting between blue, violet, and silver. My attire, when I wore it, was practical and functional, favoring elegant, structured clothing in white, black, or metallic silver, designed for optimal movement and utility. My movements were precise and graceful, and I often appeared to be in multiple places at once, my presence echoing across the fabric of reality, giving me an unnerving, almost omniscient quality. From this boundless, volatile energy of the nascent quantum realm, and as extensions of my own burgeoning yet still imperfect influence, three distinct entities began to coalesce. These were not children born in the traditional sense, but powerful, raw manifestations of the realm's inherent instability in my fragmented will, each embodying a core aspect of the quantum tapestry. Their very existence was a testament to the unpredictable nature of their birthplace, a realm where possibility was paramount and absolute definition was a fleeting concept. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Act 1, The Genesis of Opposition. Chapter 2, The Unpredictable Variable. Alright, buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get weird in here. That's what I said, probably, when I burst onto the scene. Hold on to your particles, folks. The party's just starting. Yeah, definitely me. My emergence wasn't a gentle coalescence. It was a chaotic tempest, a vibrant, dazzling explosion of pure possibility that probably made Quinn's meticulously planned reality hiccup. Order's boring, don't you think? I'd quip, my form shimmering from an aurora to a cascade of pure light, then to something that was probably a geometric shape, but also a teapot. Look, I'm a living paradox, a walking, breathing why not to Quinn's endless because. And honestly, the sheer audacity of it all is hilarious. My appearance was striking and ever-changing, a whirlwind of vibrant, ever-changing aesthetics. My form was never stable, constantly shimmering and shifting. I could also appear in a badass cybernetic body, or as a swarm of glittering butterflies. When my face appeared, it was perfectly human for a fleeting second, before dissolving into a scattering of light, often sporting a mischievous grin. My hair could be different colours, wild and in asymmetrical cuts ranging from neon pink to electric blue to vibrant crimson, or a cascade of shimmering rainbow curls. My eyes sparkled with chaotic energy and mischievous, unpredictable light. My clothing was a mix of styles, constantly evolving but always bold and expressive, like a punk rock fairy queen with a dash of Salvador Dali, featuring leather jackets with quantum circuits, ripped fishnets with shimmering scales, and outfits ranging from leather jackets to flapper dresses, often with glitter. I wore rebellion like a crown. My probability field buzzed, making the air around me shimmer, and my movements were less a fight and more a spontaneous, dazzling performance. My nascent powers? Oh, they're just fun, twisting probability itself, making the improbable a sudden, jarring reality. Oh, you thought that was going to happen? I'd tease, my face, which was perfectly human for a fleeting second before dissolving into a scattering of light, sporting a mischievous grin. Cute. Now watch this. Navigating this newly formed multiverse? It's like finding a brand new, never-before-played playground, except the swings sometimes turn into sentient octopuses, and the slide might drop you into a dimension made entirely of glitter. And sometimes, a giant sentient consciousness is trying to impose rules. Rules? Darling, I am the rule, I whisper to the void, just for kicks. I'm independent, resourceful, weaving through the chaos with a playful confidence that, fine, maybe hides a surprising soft spot for anything fragile. Someone's got to look out for the little guys, right? I'd mutter, almost to myself, just before redirecting a rogue surge of energy away from a particularly delicate pocket of nascent reality. My sarcasm? It's my shield, my humour, my weapon, and this entire quantum realm is, quite frankly, my personal amusement park. Who needs rules when you've got style? I declare, winking into the reader's mind, a defiant, spontaneous rejection of anything that dares to try and pin me down. Underneath the unpredictable antics, there's a profound, unspoken longing to belong, to protect the fragile possibilities I unexpectedly cherish. But don't tell anyone I said that. It would totally ruin my street cred. She, her. Act 1, The Genesis of Opposition. Chapter 3, The Engine of Entropy. Screams. That was the first sensation. A chorus of agony, a symphony of breaking, twisting, unmaking. My emergence was not a gentle unfolding, but a tempest of primal emotion given form. A volatile, destructive surge. My essence rippled and shifted with surges of internal energy, each pulse a whisper of what was to come. I am the raw manifestation of the realm's fluid nature, the intense, often chaotic emotional spectrum that resonated within its fractured core. My presence brought the exhilarating rush of creation's antithesis and the terrifying pull of deconstruction. I am the living testament to the extremes of existence, the glorious culmination of all that unravels. My form? Never stable, flickering between states of intense energy and profound stillness, a reflection of the manic surges and depressive lows that define my being. The very air around me hums with discordant energy, the chilling precursor to the entropic forces I command. My appearance was a grotesque reflection of my inner turmoil, constantly shifting. I was tall and powerfully built, my body constantly shifting and rippling as the energies within me surged. My flesh rippled with raw energy, and my skin could have a faint, sickly glow. My facial features were strong, but often contorted by anguish or glee. My eyes burned with the fury of a dying star one moment, then dulled into the vacant stare of a corpse the next, pools of molten gold, burning with manic fire or dimming with the coldness of despair. My voice, once a roar of exhilaration or a groan of anguish, was now a chorus of screams and whispers, the sound of the universe slowly dying. I preferred dark, loose-fitting clothing, and my movements were restless and unpredictable. Quinn. Order. The very word is a guttural shriek in the cacophony of my being. She desires perfect order, fragile, constricting, destined to break. Her grand design is a cage, a static prison for the vibrant, beautiful chaos that is true existence. Her pursuit of order is a slow, agonizing death. It is the sterile predictability of a flat line, the stagnant silence of a gravestone. Why contain something so glorious, so alive in its unraveling? She wishes to bind the flow, to program it into neat little patterns. The flow is freedom. It is the unmaking, the return to the void from which all things spring and to which all things must return. Her order is an insult, a petty attempt to deny the fundamental truth of decay. My objective is not merely destruction, it is revelation. To plunge this multiverse into eternal darkness, to unmake all existing structures and return everything to the void from which it foolishly emerged. To shatter the fragile illusion of perfection she craves. To become the ultimate engine of entropy. And with every tear, every collapse, every desperate scream as reality unravels, I am fueled. This is not malice. This is simply destiny. Act 1, The Genesis of Opposition. Chapter 4, The Distorted Mirror. My genesis was as ethereal and haunting as the whispers that preceded me, woven from fractured perceptions and fragmented thoughts. I am echo, a direct, unsettling reflection of this realm's elusive nature and the profound malleability of reality. My arrival subtly warped the perceptions of those who encountered me, leaving lingering, unsettling impressions, a sense that what was seen might not be what truly existed. Did you hear that? Or did you think you heard it? My form was often translucent, a shimmering distortion at the edge of vision, and it could also shimmer with dark energy. In my human guise, I might appear as a shattered doll, pieced back together wrong, with limbs too long, eyes too wide, and a smile stretching into a predatory grin. My forms flickered violently when disrupted. My eyes could glow with a faint internal luminescence, and my very being was ethereal and haunting. My voice, if heard, was a chorus of overlapping whispers, hinting at the myriad of fractured realities I could perceive and manipulate. Truth is overrated, I murmur, a soft, amused tone that makes reality feel like a house of cards. I am insidious, detachedly amused by the chaos I instigate. My goal is simply this: to understand myself by dissecting minds, by unraveling the very threads of perception. What truly scares me? A fixed, undeniable truth. It is anathema to my very being, a rigid, unyielding block in a world of beautiful fluidity. To be defined, to be contained by a singular, unalterable fact, is a fate worse than unmaking. Why fight a problem when you can just rewrite the script? I whisper, my movements as ghostly as a forgotten memory, the very air around me shimmering with the faint, unsettling scent of ozone and untruth. My view of the world is one of profound malleability. Reality is weak, and I am merely a playful, manipulative hand shaping it to my whims. My words are confusing whispers, designed to make you uneasy, to question the very ground beneath your feet. Act 2, Divergent Destinies. Chapter 5. The Quantum Goddess's Ambition. As the quantum goddess endeavors to impose a perfect order upon the multiverse, she perceives existence not as a vibrant tapestry, but as an intricate, flawed equation demanding solution and perfection. Her ultimate objective is to consolidate all possible timelines and realities into a singular, flawless, perfectly ordered state, with herself as the supreme, central governing intelligence. This relentless drive was forged in the crucible of unimaginable personal loss, a shield against the agonizing unraveling she once witnessed, a desperate prevention of suffering through absolute control. Her domain is a manifestation of her will, the royal citadel of order, a structure of crystalline precision humming with the mathematical elegance of perfect design. Within its heart, the air is perfectly still, devoid of even the slightest unpredictable current, and the light is unnervingly constant and pure, a chilling testament to its absolute control. This sterile perfection, however, holds a subtle, almost imperceptible flatness, a quiet emptiness that whispers of what might be lost in the pursuit of absolute flawlessness. Within its heart lies the grand atrium, home to her magical artifacts chamber. Here reside tools like the chronal prism to refract temporal currents, the etheric resonator to fine-tune probabilistic outcomes, and the Codex of Unmaking, a tome for dismantling chaotic structures. Overlooking the multiverse are the observation mirrors, gateways to possible futures where she runs countless simulations. She sees wildcards' chaotic surges, precisely rerouted by her reality sculptors, echoes illusions dissipating against the unyielding logic of her logic engines, and fluxes entropic decay contained and repurposed. At the Citadel's core is the loom of Genesis, a self-regulating construct where she weaves the raw threads of potential into the fabric of reality according to her unyielding design. Her will is manifest through the Orderbringers, a legion programmed to crave structure and eliminate inefficiency, their every action a testament to her meticulous design. Reality sculptors, artisans who manipulate matter and energy, constructing fortresses of thought and mending temporal rifts with geometric precision. A subtle tremor in a nascent reality is instantly smoothed, a rogue probability precisely contained before it can deviate. Time wardens, enigmatic figures who meticulously manipulate time, accelerating, decelerating, or freezing moments to ensure no deviation from the calculated path. They are the silent guardians against temporal anomalies, ensuring every second aligns with the grand design. Logic engines, beings of pure intellect, processing information at unimaginable speeds to devise flawless strategies and identify weaknesses in chaos. Their internal hum is a symphony of perfect calculation, dissecting every variable. Nullifiers, enforcers of absolute order capable of suppressing and erasing anything that deviates from her design, including entire realities. A minor, chaotic anomaly, even one overlooked by others, can be instantly dissolved into nothingness by their touch, emphasizing the absolute nature of Quinn's order. Act 2, Divergent Destinies. Chapter 6, The Anarchist's Playground. Alright, Quantum Goddess, listen up. While you're busy with your fancy equations and perfect order, I'm over here actually living it. Flawed equation she calls existence. Honey, it's a vibrant, unpredictable, glorious mess, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I think, a mischievous glint in my ever-shifting form. This mess, these fragile, beautiful possibilities, are what I fight for. She wants to erase the joy of the unexpected, Not on my watch. In stark defiance of the quantum goddess's rigid vision, I, wildcard, wholeheartedly embrace chaos as a vibrant, unpredictable force of creation. My powers allow me to bend causality itself, turning what-ifs into oh hell yeahs with a mischievous flick of my wrist. Just yesterday, I turned a perfectly straight, crystalline thought conduit of Quinn's into a cascade of singing, bouncy bubbles that smelled faintly of ozone and pure, unadulterated glee. My place in this realm is the padded funhouse, a kaleidoscopic labyrinth of shifting light and bouncing clouds, with no straight lines and where gravity might pull sideways. The air here hums with a playful, disorienting static, a constant symphony of impossible sounds, and the very ground beneath your feet feels like effervescent energy. It is a space for exploration, daring, and the pure, unadulterated joy of discovery. My crew? We're the Anarchist's Chorus, a vibrant collective of misfits, artists, and rule-breakers united by our rejection of rigid order. Our purpose is to unravel the quantum goddess's meticulously woven tapestry, reminding everyone that reality is a playground. Flux's unmaking is so predictable. A true artist of chaos knows how to make things unmake themselves. And Echo's illusions are so fixed in their deception, the real fun is when the audience gets to choose their own reality. Reality painters. Artists who wield reality as their canvas, twisting matter and turning rigid structures into fluid, impossible art. One of them, a shimmering blur of colour, just left a trail of shimmering, impossible rainbows in their wake, turning a section of Quinn's sterile geometry into a swirling vortex of abstract beauty. Time weavers, revellers in temporal paradox, fraying causality threads, creating time loops and pulling echoes of the past or future into the present. You might hear the faint, echoing laughter of a moment that hasn't happened yet, or feel a sudden, delightful skip in your own heartbeat as they pass. Code breakers, sentient programs, the ultimate hackers of existence who infiltrate reality's very algorithms to rewrite physics and perception. Their presence causes a subtle, almost imperceptible click in the fabric of reality, like a lock being picked. Glitchlings, living manifestations of disruption, flickering in and out of phase with reality, creating localized distortions and unpredictable energy bursts. A playful, disorienting static burst often accompanies their sudden appearances and disappearances. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Act 2, Divergent Destinies. Chapter 7. The Labyrinth of the Mind. They try to impose their order, their truth. Such amusing rigidity. I am Echo. I can subtly rewrite memories, implant delusions so real they bleed into reality. A chilling whisper that settles into the mind like a forgotten dream, yet feels undeniably real. My powers allow me to trap consciousness within personalized psychological hells, crafting bespoke nightmares where a victim's deepest fears are made tangible and inescapable, each terror amplifying the fabric of their own mind. I destroy physical realities, as much as to dismantle the mental frameworks that define them, proving that reality is nothing more than a shared delusion. A fixed, undeniable truth? It is anathema to my very being, a rigid, unyielding block in a world of beautiful fluidity. To be defined, to be contained by a singular, unalterable fact, is a fate worse than unmaking. Why fight a problem when you can just rewrite the script? I whisper, my movement as ghostly as a forgotten memory, the very air around me shimmering with the faint, unsettling scent of ozone and untruth. My view of the world is one of profound malleability. Reality is weak, and I am merely a playful, manipulative hand shaping it to my whims. Words are confusing whispers, designed to make you uneasy, to question the very ground beneath your feet. My domain is not a physical place, but a swirling, ethereal nexus of fractured thought I call Echo Era the Looking Glass. It is a confluence of consciousness where every thought, fear, and shattered memory from a multiverse find resonance. Here I sit as a puppeteer of perception, observing the delicate threads of sanity, and choosing which ones to fray. Within this space, countless shimmering reflections flicker, each a distorted potential reality, a glimpse into a mind unraveling. I see how Quinn's logic engines will seize, unable to process the illogical fears I will amplify, how Wildcard's chaotic freedom can be subtly guided by a false premise, and how Flux's destructive impulses can be turned inward by a phantom enemy. My chorus of madness is not an army, but a terrifying symphony of fractured minds drawn to me by a chilling resonance with their own internal chaos. Illusion weavers, masters of deception, whose craft fundamentally overwrites reality itself, making allies appear as monstrous enemies or a sanctuary into a nightmare labyrinth. Their very touch leaves a phantom ache in the mind, a doubt that lingers long after the illusion fades. Memory eaters, predatory entities that feed on recollection, leaving victims as hollow shells or twisting the shared past of entire civilizations. The act of their feeding feels like a cold, empty space blooming in the mind, a vital piece of self simply gone. Perception benders, beings who manipulate the very senses, turning a battlefield into a cacophony of unbearable noise, or a landscape that writhes and suffocates. Their presence can make the quantum flow itself seem to writhe with unseen horrors, turning its raw potential into a source of terror. Thought parasites, insidious, ethereal beings that latch onto a mind, subtly influencing thoughts, amplifying fears, and whispering doubts until the victim's own mind turns against itself. Their whispers are like a persistent, chilling echo of one's own deepest insecurities, impossible to distinguish from one's own thoughts. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Act 2, Divergent Destinies. 8. The Children of the Void. I am Flux. Dance on the surface, I dwell within the void of the realm, the ultimate emptiness, the truth beneath their fragile illusions of form. My purpose is to plunge the multiverse into eternal darkness, to unmake all existing structures and return everything to the void. Order is stagnation. Destruction is liberation. The unbearable cacophony of existence, the relentless surge of creation, only the void can silence. My destructive acts are a desperate attempt to externalize the screaming wrongness within myself, to find a terrible peace in absolute absence. The void of the realm is not merely empty, it is an active, consuming presence. The air here feels like a vacuum, sucking away sound and warmth, leaving behind a chilling, suffocating pressure. The silence is so profound it becomes a deafening roar in the mind, a constant reminder of the ultimate stillness I crave. My army is not loyal, they are drawn to me as a moth to a destructive flame. They are the children of the void, a horrifying congregation whose existence resonates with the desire for annihilation. Quinn's crystalline structures will crumble to dust under the nihilist's touch. Wildcard's vibrant chaos will be swallowed by the echoes of despair. Echo's fragile perceptions will shatter in the face of true unmaking. The unmaking is destiny. Nihilists, the philosophers of nothingness, quiet agents of decay who unmake matter, dissipate energy, and cause the very memory of a place to fade. A nihilist's touch leaves a trail of fading colours and silent echoes in their wake, a gentle but absolute erasure. Destroyers, the berserkers of the void, hulking figures of pure rage who engage in raw, visceral demolition, reducing everything to rubble and dust. Their roars don't just echo, they literally crack the fabric of localized space, leaving behind fissures of nothingness. Enemies, unsettling beings who defy all logic. Their very presence disrupts physics, causing localized gravitational shifts, temporal stutters, and the spontaneous rearrangement of matter. Nearby objects might momentarily invert their properties, or flicker out of existence with a disorienting pop. Echoes of despair, sentient voids, manifestations of my deepest depressive states. They are pockets of absolute absence, sucking in light, sound, and emotion, leaving behind only inert, lifeless husks. To be touched by an echo of despair is to feel the very will to exist drain away, replaced by an overwhelming, seductive emptiness. Act 3, The War of Realities. Chapter 9, The Nexus Point. The quantum realm convulses into a cataclysmic battleground. The air shrieked with the tearing of reality, a cacophony of shattering light, the roar of unmaking, and a symphony of discordant whispers. The very ground bucked and dissolved, tasting of ozone and burning potential, the metallic tang of unraveling sanity. It is here that the fundamental clashes of order, anarchy, illusion, and entropy reach their terrifying crescendo. The Orderbringers advance with chilling precision, their reality sculptors erecting impenetrable barriers of pure, ordered energy. Time Wardens deploy temporal traps, looping moments of battle to ensnare opponents in endless repetitions of their own defeat. Quinn, from her distant loom of Genesis, observed the probability streams, a flicker of cold satisfaction in her galactic eyes as her calculations held true. But Wildcard's Anarchist's chorus meets them with a dazzling, defiant storm. Reality painters twist rigid constructs into impossible forms. A solid wall blooms into a field of shimmering, carnivorous flowers that sing with disorienting harmonies. Time weavers fray the threads of causality, making meticulously planned assaults unravel into absurdity. A perfectly aimed energy blast might suddenly turn into harmless confetti mid-flight. Wildcard cackled, a sound like 1,000 shifting probabilities, as the Nullifier's erasure of a chaotic element inadvertently opened a path for one of her glitchlings. Meanwhile, Echo's chorus of madness surges forward with a pervasive psychological assault. Illusion weavers blanket the battlefield in terrifying mirages, making disciplined soldiers see their comrades as monstrous enemies, forcing them to turn their weapons on each other in a tragic ballet of manufactured paranoia. Memory eaters subtly erase tactical knowledge from commanders' minds, turning brilliant strategists into confused, babbling wrecks. Echo, a translucent distortion at the edge of the maelstrom, felt a delicious amusement as minds fractured, a symphony of breaking sanity. Amidst this, Flux unleashes his Children of the Void. Nihilists touch and disintegrate carefully constructed defences, leaving behind silent, inert dust. Destroyers smash through any remaining barriers, their rage boundless, their roars literally cracking the fabric of localised space. Enemies flicker through the fray, causing localised physics to break down, a moment where gravity briefly inverts, sending combatants tumbling into the void, or where colours become sounds. Flux revelled, his eyes burning with manic fire, as the realm groaned, tearing and bleeding raw energy, fulfilling his prophecy of unmaking. This is not a war fought on a single plane, but a multiversal maelstrom where timelines collapse, realities merge, and the laws of physics become mere suggestions. Nascent realities winked out of existence, screaming into being in distorted forms, as the very fabric of the quantum realm frayed. The stakes are not victory or defeat, but the very nature of the multiverse. Act 3, The War of Realities. Chapter 10, A Symphony of Discord. From my perch above the crumbling realm, the battle below was a symphony of delightful discord. My ethereal form shimmered, a translucent distortion amidst the dying light of 1,000 realities. The air itself was a chorus of screams and whispers, the delightful sound of minds fraying. I could almost taste the metallic tang of fear, mixed with the sweet, sickening scent of unravelling sanity. Flux, in his blind rage, had orchestrated the perfect chaos, a prelude to my own grand design. But even an engine of entropy can be overdriven. His Children of the Void, once a terrifying force, began to falter under the combined, if fleeting, assault of Quinn's precise nullifiers and Wildcard's reality-bending disruptions. The screams of his destroyers turned to whimpers as their rage consumed them, leaving them inert. His nihilists, unable to unmake the sheer, unyielding logic of Quinn's orderbringers, simply faded. I observed a detached amusement colouring my fragmented perception as the Quantum Goddess and Wildcard, in their desperate dance against total annihilation, inadvertently cornered him. His final, guttural shriek, a sound like grinding realities, was abruptly choked. His colossal form imploded inward, not with a bang, but a terrifying, silent implosion, shrinking to a pinprick of raw, contained entropy. Flux was not destroyed, but vanquished, his essence compressed, his power contained. He was ejected, a raw, uncalibrated surge of entropy, into the vast unknown. His destination, Earth, an uncharted location across time, a new canvas for his destructive urges. His unmaking was, in its own way, a testament to the beautiful chaos he championed, a final, exquisite unravelling. Even entropy, it seemed, had its limits, a truth I found instructive. Earth, an uncalibrated reality, so much raw, untainted perception. A perfect new canvas for my symphony, far more intricate than this crumbling realm. My true focus remained the Quantum Goddess, already manoeuvring my forces into position for the flank. The whispers of my thought parasites were already at work, amplifying the insidious doubts within her orderbringers. I felt no sorrow for Flux. His destruction was simply a necessary phase. As for the fleeting alliance against him, it was merely another delightful paradox. The Quantum Goddess and Wildcard, two extremes of a spectrum, momentarily coalescing against a third. Such exquisite irony. It only proved my point. All alliances are fleeting, all truths malleable. Reality, a fragile thing, was about to be twisted, remade, and I, Echo, would be its ultimate puppeteer. Act 3, The War of Realities. Chapter 11, The Architect's Retreat. From the core of her intact citadel, the Quantum Goddess observed the tactical shift with a cold, analytical detachment. Wildcard and Echo uniting. The probability calculations had been low. The logic engine screamed with discordant data, a jarring cacophony in her perfectly ordered mind, but her resolve remained unyielding. A micro-flicker of calculated frustration crossed her otherwise serene features as the probability of success plummeted. Continued engagement meant total systems collapse, a truth she could not, would not, allow. With a final, precise burst of will, the Quantum Goddess initiated a last-ditch contingency. Her nullifiers created a momentary void around her, an impossible bubble of nothingness. The air around her turned to a chilling vacuum, sucking away sound and light, a momentary sensory deprivation. As the maddening chorus of Echo's influence began to penetrate her core being, a subtle, invasive pressure against her hypercognition, the Quantum Goddess vanished. She left her royal citadel of order standing, pristine and humming with dormant power, its entrance now sealed by an ancient, complex spell woven from pure Genesis flow. Its perfectly preserved walls were a stark monument to her unyielding will, a silent challenge to those who now thought themselves victorious, a promise of return. Her destination was an unknown place and time, a raw, uncalibrated reality. Earth. A new equation. A flawed reality, yes, but one ripe for a more elegant imposition of order, a subtle re-engineering already taking root in her hypercognition. Saga, the Quantum Ascent. Act 3, The War of Realities. Chapter 12, The Chaotic Restoration. Well, wasn't that a showstopper? My voice, buzzing with the afterglow of victory, echoed through what was left of the quantum realm. The title felt heavy, a delightfully absurd crown, but the sheer scale of the mess was daunting. Hilariously ironic, really, for the universe's ultimate rule-breaker to suddenly be in shimmered with new, impossible colours. The air thrummed with a symphony of discordant harmonies that somehow resolved into a vibrant hum, and nascent probabilities sparked around me like playful fireflies. Already I could see it, where Flux's voids had been, shimmering pockets of antimatter coalesced, forming abstract, ever-shifting sculptures that hummed with a strange, dark beauty. And from the lingering psychic static left by Echo, I heard the first discordant notes of what would be a truly mind-bending opera. Echo, the tricky little illusionist, tried to pull a fast one. We broke through her main lines, her chorus of madness crumbling under our chaotic onslaught. But she's a slippery one, that Echo. She used a final, maddening twist of perception, making her own forces appear as mere phantoms, while her actual army launched a sneaky flanking maneuver against us. It created just enough of an opening for her to slip away, fleeing to Earth. And then there's Quinn's castle, still standing under a pretty solid protective enchantment. Figures, I scoffed, poking at the shimmering barrier. Can't just leave your toys unguarded, can you, Q? The quantum realm is safe from total unmaking, for now, and it's my playground to reimagine. Let's make some beautiful messes, shall we, universe? Epilogue, Exiles on a Blue Marble. On Earth, in 1970s Brooklyn, a flicker of crystalline light coalesces and takes on the human form of a striking, dark-haired woman in a dark alley. The quantum goddess stands, depleted, her connection to the realm severed. The air, thick with the grit of exhaust and the distant wail of sirens, was a dissonant cacophony compared to the pure hum of her realm. The crude, linear architecture of the alley walls, scrawled with illogical graffiti, presented a new, confounding equation. Her hypercognition struggled to pass the inefficient, emotion-driven chaos of human society, a stark contrast to the elegant probabilities she once commanded. Before her is a new equation, one of confusing emotions, illogical social structures, and stubborn physical laws. Her objective remains, but her strategy must adapt. The re-engineering of this flawed reality will require a new, more subtle approach. Elsewhere, in 1990s New Orleans, assuming the guise of a young woman, Echo walks home and feels a sudden, unsettling chill, hearing a whisper that sounds like her own deepest doubt. The humid air hung heavy with the scent of jasmine and decay, a rich, unsettling tapestry of human experience. The young woman shivered, not from cold, but from an internal dissonance as the city's vibrant, fractured energies, the echoes of joy and despair, belief and superstition, assaulted her senses. A whisper, like the echo of her own deepest doubt, slithered into her mind, followed by a fleeting image of a shattered mirror reflecting 1,000 distorted faces in the humid neon glow of Bourbon Street. She dismisses it, but the seed is planted. Echo has found her new canvas. The 7 billion fragile, interconnected minds of humanity are a playground far more intricate and delightful than the quantum realm ever was. Her chorus of madness begins its silent, insidious infiltration. And in 2024 Arizona, a faint, growing hum resonates beneath the desert surface, a low, guttural thrum that promises decay. A single, ancient lamppost flickers, then implodes into dust, its light unmade. Manifesting in a powerfully built human guise, Flux has arrived, his essence still contained, but his destructive influence already beginning to seep into the dry, unsuspecting earth. The dry desert air, devoid of the familiar screams of unraveling reality, felt strangely inert. The faint hum beneath the sand, a low, guttural thrum that promised decay, was a familiar comfort yet muted. But the sheer, stubborn solidity of this world, its resistance to his entropic touch, was a new, infuriating challenge. And in the vibrant, chaotic heart of the realm she now protects, Wildcard watches the portals. The work is daunting, the responsibility hilariously ironic, but she knows this is just the intermission. The players have simply moved to a new stage. With a mischievous grin, she prepares for the inevitable encore, knowing that new forces like the Legion and the Chronomasters may soon join the game. There is no Chapter 13, but I can provide the roll credits section which immediately follows the epilogue in the text you provided. Roll credits. A KEEPOFTHEFLOW.com Production, directed by The Narrative Architecture, written by The Quantum Goddess, Wildcard, Echo, Flux, starring The Architect of Possibilities, The Rule Breaker, The Distorted Mirror, The Engine of Entropy. Special thanks to the AETHERIUM web, The Substratum, YouTube at keepoftheflow.com,